Welcome to yet another episode of the Legacy Building Leaders TV show, where we feature men and women who are solution providers and game changers in their various fields of endeavor. In today's episode, we feature Miss Sithembiso Maseko from Filabusi in Caesar, rural background, but she has risen from there to become a state-registered nurse and a wellness coordinator for Delta.
I was born in Filabusi to Agnes and Samuel Maseko. We are three in the family, 2 girls and 1 boy. I'm a mother of 2 beautiful girls. They are really caring. I did my primary education initially in Kai, where my father had gone following his grandfather. Then he went back to Filabusi whilst I was in grade 5, and I completed my primary education. I then enrolled at Mzilikazi High School, where then was an F1 school, because there was F1 and F2. F1 was for academics, F2 was mostly for practical subjects. My journey was not as easy. You can imagine moving from the rural areas into urban settings. It was a shock initially, but I adjusted and adapted well. That was my first learning when I moved away from my parents. After that, I applied for nurses training. Those days, it was either nursing or teaching, especially if you were from the rural areas. But before I started nurses training, I worked as a temporary teacher for 2 years. And unfortunately, just before completing my 2nd year, I was told that I was underage. I hadn't reached the age of 18. So I had to stop working before even getting my salary. Then it used to take a bit of time for the Salary Service Bureau to service you and pay you, but they later on paid me. Then my second move was when I started nurses training. I applied and got a post at Impilo. When we arrived there, we were screened. Some of us were sent to Bulawayo Central Hospital, which was predominantly white, and I was one of those who went to UBH, United Bulawayo Hospitals. And that was the second culture shock, where I met up with whites, a rural girl, and then issues of racism were still rife, but I managed to adjust, because I just followed instructions and I tried to engage with people as much as possible. After training, I went to work at in Matawele South, Kezimatopo district. I met another culture shock, where we found that those days there used to be state certified nurses working in rural areas, and I was one of the first state-registered nurses to work there. So there was a bit of resistance, but through talking to people, engaging, and making them understand that we work and win in teams, I won their hearts in such a way that when I left, everybody was in tears. I just worked for 2 years, and then I went for midwifery training. And I was posted to Mumhari district. Imagine from Matawele South to Mumhari. That was the 3rd culture shock, where I was now in a region where they used not to speak my language, and I was sort of foreign to them. And the reception there wasn't as good. But through engagement and the way that I normally work well with people, I worked well with them for a year before applying for community health nursing. Those were the years of my life as a nurse in hospital, because after that I did community health nursing, which deals with healthy people. I did community health nursing at Parenyatwa group of hospitals. Then I was deployed in Plumtree, where I worked as a community health nurse. That's where my career literally started shaping up, because I enjoyed working with healthy people. That was my objective. I then did my degree, first degree with UNISA, where I majored in occupational health, community health, and adult education. Then I joined the occupational sphere, where I worked for several companies before joining Delta Beverages as the wellness coordinator in 1999. When I joined Delta Beverages, I felt occupational health was not being applied or implemented as I would have loved it to be. So I decided to also do a master's in business administration. I was saying, do these people really understand? I was fortunate enough to be picked as one of those people to join the master's class at NAST. Then my career at Delta Beverages, I've seen myself grow from strength to strength. I started off as an occupational health nurse. Then I became an HIV coordinator, where we were running coordinated programs, because initially they were center specific, but now they wanted me to have a coordinated program. Thereafter, in 2011, after managing HIV and seeing that people were now used and managing and were no longer losing protection time to, to HIV, we changed and switched off to a wellness program. Wellness program, I attended the initial one that was run by UNICEF, and I picked a lot of aspects, and then we implemented it at Delta, where we find that we're looking at all the aspects of life, where an individual has to choose a healthy lifestyle. And we defined wellness as a choice to actually choose the responsibility for your health. And in the years that I've been the wellness coordinator, I've managed to run the program very well, and we've been recognized at different forums, which include getting accolades by different organizations, including Auxilia Chimsoro Foundation, the Institute of Personnel Management, including the Global Business Coalition on Health. In 2013, we're the first runner-up. 2016, we're the second runner-up, so we've been doing quite well. The Global Business Healthy Workplaces have also been asking us to enter for awards, so we've been considered in a lot of places. I've been a member of different health institutions, and I've done quite a number of researches in the process of my work. I enjoy research quite a lot, and I think I've done quite a lot to make sure Delta wellness programs are heightened. I've got a brilliant team. I've got a leader who is our group medical officer. The team that I have is very supportive. I've managed to engage from management to the shop floor workers, and I applaud my wellness champions. The wellness champions are the people that impart knowledge as people work, and we found that they are very, very helpful, and they've actually run this program and brought it to where it is.
So we have listened to the leadership story of Ms. Sithembiso Maseko. There is no limit to how far one can go, regardless of where you begin in life. Legacy building leaders influence the next generation of leaders. Ms. Sithembiso Maseko is going to inspire and engage with panache and kudakwashe.
Good morning, Ms. Maseko. My name is Panache Mziti, an upper sixth science student, currently blessed at Nyatsime College. How has your education been an influence to your success?
Thank you for that question. Education has influenced my roadmap. I started off as a registered general nurse, upgraded myself to be a midwife, then a community health nurse, because I felt my path was to work with healthy people, not people in hospitals. So I later joined occupational health nursing after doing my degree with UNISA, where I majored in occupational health, community health, and adult education. And I discovered that working with adults who are well was better to impart my knowledge. I later did my master's degree with NAST, where I just wanted to focus and understand how management at workplaces worked and how they viewed, because you want to speak the language that people understand.
My name is Kudakwashe Makwarimba. I'm the vice head girl at Nyatsime College, and I'm also doing sciences. There are many stereotypes and much stigma that I experience as a leader. As vice head girl, I don't think people appreciate my leadership because I'm a lady. So how did you achieve so much despite being a lady?
Thank you, Kuda, for that question. Being a woman is a challenge on its own, but it takes you to prove to people that we are as good as everyone else. You have to work hard. I've noted that lady leaders work even harder to prove themselves. But all I can guide you is that you have to be confident. Maintain your composure. Know how to approach people. Know what to say to them. Hence the importance of education. Have your facts right. Don't be deterred or scared of anybody. Face and look at people in the eyes. Put your foot down where it's necessary. Take your role and give instruction where necessary. And seek for implementation where people have to apply or implement the tasks that we must have given them. Never mind what they say. Don't look down upon yourself. Confidence begins with you.
So I wanted to know how COVID-19 has impacted the life of many employees out there, and what you think would be the best way to help those people out there.
Yes, at our workplace, we say employee wellness is a choice to assume responsibility for the quality of your life. And employee wellness is hinged upon trust. So we engage and communicate with employees. That's why I did adult education, so that I understand how you can have a breakthrough talking to them. And we use their peers, what we used to call peer educators, but now we call them wellness educators. These are the people who impact knowledge. We train them, then they share with their peers as they work. It is a very effective tool and effective way of getting at people. As for COVID-19, we discovered that it's a very painful experience for everybody. It forces people to change their behaviors. Behavior change is very difficult. As I said, the issue of trust has to come in. As you know, social media influenced how COVID-19 was perceived or is being perceived. So to change adults' minds, to abide to the principles and the protocols is not easy, but we've tried through engagement.
So what advice can you give to students in boarding school?
Yes, wellness issues apply to everybody. Would even be happier starting at an earlier stage. Yes, I run wellness programs at workplaces, but if they are factored in schools, the better. I can even say Delta as an organization, we were privileged to run hand washing schools, global hand washing days, commemorating them in schools, so that we foster the issue of hygiene management. These are the future leaders. We want a healthy worker. It starts off, physical activities are part of maintaining a healthy body mass index, which is the relationship of your height and weight. It starts off with what you eat, how you sleep, the number of hours you sleep, the exercise that you do. I would actually encourage scholars to run with that so that they are healthy in life. If you are obese, you might develop all the diseases of lifestyle. But I've seen boarders, you eat a lot of junk. That's why I'm saying healthy eating builds you guys. We want you, it actually factors in even in disease prevention, especially in this era of COVID-19. If you are healthy and eating well, even if these viruses, these bacteria hit your system, at least it can fight back. So it's important to eat healthy, exercise, sleep, try to manage stress, and minimize competition. That's what kills most students. Look at yourself as an individual. So wellness issues are an all-round thing, so that you become a healthy individual, and then we'll have healthy workers, healthy nations.
I've seen that discipline and consistency have been of great influence to your legacy. What advice do you have for young adults like us and other young teenagers out there to be more like you and to be well-groomed?
Thank you, Panashe. It's very important to be disciplined, as you say. You have to be disciplined, but on the other side, protecting yourself, because workplaces are not nice places, in brackets, to be in. You have to know what you are doing, That's hence the education aspect. You have to know the principles of life. You have to respect other people, especially yourself. It begins with you.
So, Ms. Maseko, how does it feel to be a leader who's recognized nationally?
It's empowering and fulfilling. You see that at least you've impacted people positively. Being recognized on its own gives you that zeal to continue doing good.
We've listened to Ms. Sithembiso Maseko, inspiring two learners from Nyatsime College, Kudakwashe and Panashe. In the last segment of this TV show, we are going to listen to the features, defining moments and experiences that have shaped the legacy building leadership story of Ms. Sithembiso Maseko. So Ms. Sithembiso Maseko, it's so wonderful to hear your leadership story, starting in rural Filabusi. I notice you are an SRB, like me, strong rural background. What are some of the lessons that you learned in those early years of your upbringing that have shaped your leadership to where you are today?
Thank you. I appreciate me being here. It's a pleasure. Being in the rural areas shaped my life and career. In that respect was a must-have. And with respect and strong family ties, it molds a person. It makes it easy to relate with anybody, irrespective of the age, the level, and position in society. It really made me a better person. I respected everybody at workplaces, and as a result, I got that respect in return.
And when we look at leadership, it starts with that important decision, career decision, which young people out there, they have to make that decision in terms of what career pathway they have to follow. What lessons would you, or insights would you share with our audience, as they make such an important decision for their lives?
Career decision is very important. But one thing that we should notice that you can always have a career switch if you are not satisfied along the way. That one I have to emphasize. Yes. But as for parents, I will try to maybe discourage parents advising their children what to do. Let them take their paths, although we can guide. Give them the good and bad aspects of certain decisions that they take. But ultimately, they make the informed decision from their research. Luckily, these days, they can research. They can Google about certain things. When we grew up, it was either nursing, teaching, and a few other, but for the strong rural background person like me, most it was nursing or teaching. I decided to go nursing because I had passion for people. I just generally love people. Although at the end of the day, I discovered that maybe just as much as I had taken that path, but I was not the person to work closely with the sick person because of the empathy and the sympathy, especially the sympathy. Right. So that's why I switched to work with healthier people.
Right. So for a young person out there who is considering a career in nursing, what kind of person should they be if they are going to find nursing a satisfying or a fulfilling career?
These should be very honest people, because you are dealing with people's lives. You must be an honest person. We don't want people who will say, I checked Doc Mugaviri's BP, yet they haven't. Right. So they have to be honest. Right. They have to be patient. They have to be cool-headed. They have to be people willing to learn, because things change over time, including nursing aspects. You have to be somebody who appreciates teamwork, because we work and win in teams in nursing to save lives.
And your leadership legacy, I notice you have had many changes, moving from a rural background to learning, in a multicultural environment, in an urban setup. You moved from that setup, to working in a different region of the country, where the language and the culture was different. You moved from there, from being an ordinary nurse to getting into the corporate world where you are now. What is it that has helped you to adjust and to adapt within your experiences in life?
It's my personality. I accommodate people. I engage. I dialogue. I respect. And I seek to understand decisions made by people. That has helped me a lot. So I think I easily adapt, but through dialogue.
And the nurses out there who may want to consider, career switching, or if you want moving into the corporate world where you are, what should one think about if they want to be a nurse within the business environment or corporate setup where you are?
I urge people to train as nurses. I only discovered during the COVID-19 era that we were running short of nurses. Nursing is very wide, Dr. Mugaviri. People can do anything and everything. If we were to look into backgrounds of a lot of corporate citizens, some of them have nursing background. It's up to you to say, what do you want? Where do you want to focus on? If I tell you, I've done everything and anything, especially in areas of research. I've done income generating project researches. I've done surveys for the under fives. I've done surveys for nutrition gardens. I've written maybe manuals for monitoring and evaluation. I've done a lot of research, which is not in direct line with nursing. But it's up to you to further your studies. It's up to you to have interest, to grow.
You have done so well in your life, in your leadership legacy. And I want to just end by asking you a question. What would you want to be remembered for? What's your legacy?
Yes, this woman is a loving person, a very patient person, somebody who has impacted knowledge, who has assisted so many underprivileged go to school. I want to be remembered as somebody who has assisted this nation, especially the occupational world. I've done a lot of organizations have started their wellness programs through emulating the work that we're doing.
We have been privileged in this episode to listen to the legacy building leadership story of Ms. Sithembiso Maseko. And the legacy continues to unfold as she continues to learn, to grow, and to impact her workplace and her community. If you know of anyone out there whose story can inspire our nation, please feel free to contact us on the details on the screen so that we consider them to become a guest. Look forward to meeting you next Friday at 5:30. I sign out. My name is Dr. Charles Mugaviri.